Lesson 105, Choiros. Catherine, do you know what a pig rubs on its skin when it gets a sunburn?
No, tell me, please.
Ointment.
So, we have the word for pig.
Yes, it's time to pig out and talk about our new word, which, it starts with the letter chi or ki, and then we have the Omicron iota diphthong with a circumflex over it. So the word sounds like choiros or something like that, right?
Right.
So we have more farm animals, and with more animals, that gives us more chances to make sentences that include a direct object. Because now with the verb echo, we can have sentences in which someone has something, and it can generate a direct object. By the way, if you're interested in grammar terminology, we call that a transitive verb. So echo is a transitive verb in the sense that it can generate a direct object. An intransitive verb is a verb that doesn't really have a direct object, like run. If I just say I run or I swim, I'm not running anything or swimming anything. There's no target of the action. I'm just describing action that I'm doing. But with a transitive verb, like the verb to have, you can have a thing or you can have an animal. And so that kind of verb can take a direct object. And so that's why we have the word echo from the previous lesson. And so now with more farm animals, we can have more sentences in which someone has something. And this gives you a chance to practice direct objects in Greek. So let's take a look at our example sentence. Here we have ho georgos as the subject. That's the farmer. Skip to the end and you have eche. That's the verb that means he, she, or it has. And then ton choiron is the pig, but it's in direct object form.
And so that way we know who is the subject and what is the direct object because of the endings. So ho georgos is the subject because it has that regular ending. And then ton choiron is the direct object because it has the direct object ending. So even though those nouns are right next to each other with their definite articles, but there's no verb in between them, the verb is at the end, we still know which is the subject and which is the direct object because of the endings.
That's right, Catherine. You can just look at the endings and see exactly what those nouns are doing. And I think I made this sentence with that word order just to help people compare the two, because ho georgos and ton choiron are right next to each other. So you can just see the difference between them readily.
And that is a very common Greek sentence pattern as well, that the verb is at the very end.
Let's take a look at a couple of exercises. In number 1, the verb is treche, which means he, she, or it runs, or he, she, or it is running. As I mentioned a moment ago, that's an intransitive verb. It doesn't really take a direct object. So there is no direct object. It's just ho choiros, that is the pig, is running. And that's all there is to it. The pig is running. There's no direct object. There's no target of the action. And in this book, when I started introducing the reader to action verbs, I gave them intransitive verbs on purpose as a way to help them begin to work with verbs without having to work with a direct object, as sort of a stepping stone. But now that you know how to use direct objects, now you've got verbs of being, you've got action verbs that are intransitive, and you've got action verbs now that are transitive.
Mm-hmm.
So in number 1, we have an intransitive verb, no direct object. The pig is just running. He's not doing anything to anyone or anything. But in number 2, we have a transitive verb. That is, a verb that can take a direct object. That's echo, which means I have, and then ton choiron is a direct object. So in number 1, you have an intransitive verb. In number 2, you have a transitive verb with a direct object.